So let's go ahead and get started. Let me share my screen. All right. Can everybody see me? See my screen? Kiva, can you see it?
Yes, looks great.
All right. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So as she mentioned, we'll be talking about mastering confidence to get hired as well as likability. I started my whole business on coaching people because I felt confidence and likability are very important aspects. So many times people get hired based off, oh, that they think they're going to get hired based off credentials, but it really comes down to, are we a healthy fit for one another? So I feel like I've kind of cracked that code and really like to encourage others on how to share how they're likable and be confident when they walk into certain interviews to get them hired. So we're going to do a deep dive on that. So it all begins with the healthy mindset. We'll be talking about confidence and likability, just defining it, digging a little deep there. Preparation. I'm going to give you 5 keys to success, review, and then we'll have some questions at the end. We'll also be doing some polls throughout, so look out for that. All right. So I want to kind of put this out here as a disclaimer. My tips and advice today are with the understanding that you're applying and interviewing for roles you are qualified for and passionate about. Making sure that you understand what you love to do and what you can wake up to do every day is very important. We have a lot going on about, got to get that bag, got to get this paper. Well, I don't really like it, but the pay sure is good. That's really negative. And if you think about showing up physically somewhere, but you're spiritually not into it, you're only there for the money, that's really a short-term gratification. I believe we're all called to a purpose, and you don't always have to seek out, oh, this job has to be perfect and perfectly aligned, but you need to make sure that it makes sense to you and your soul, right? There's nothing worse than showing up and you just don't want to be there. That the whole, I heard one coach refer to it as the collect the check mindset. So you don't want to have that mindset, let that be your determining factor, because that's just not healthy. So I encourage everybody, if you haven't already, figure out what your personal mission statement is. Make sure you're in alignment with it and figure out what your why is. Can you wake up and be happy in this type of role in the next 3 to 5 years? You really need to think about that. It's very important. All right. So believing in yourself is the first secret to success. When you know you apply for that job, you have to believe that you can do it and do an excellent job. Everything begins and ends with a healthy mindset. You have to make sure that you are aware and know that I am confident, I am likable. If you have that type of mindset going on to an interview, the outcome is irrelevant. Because the way the world works, it's like this whole universe, right? Attraction, like attracts like. So if you truly do your best, it's irrelevant what the outcome is. Because if you showed up and you provided your best and it's not good enough for somebody, it's never going to be a good fit anyway. So sometimes that's the universe rejecting you, but it's really protecting you in the end. And we all hear about, rejection can also be your blessing, right? So I'm a big believer in that. If you really gave 100% and did the best you could do, you followed all my tips that I'm going to give you today. You made sure that you showed up on time, you had copies of your resume in hand, and you were polished and on point, and they didn't see the value in you, it wasn't a good fit. There's no need to lose any sleep. As long as you did your best, that's the most important thing. So let's define it. So Makiba, can you put up the poll for me? We got a couple of questions I'd like for y'all to answer. As I defined, what is confidence? Because a lot of times we don't think about confidence or likability for interviews. We think about, am I qualified for this position? And this is why they should hire me. But it's really a combination. We are obsessed with somebody liking us. Girl, do you like him? Hey, bro, do you like her? She's nice, right? It's this whole constant, we need self-affirmations, right? Do they like me? Do they care for me? It's like that with anything else. Why wouldn't an interview be any different? So when they call you in for the interview, know that everybody's qualified. all 10 of you are qualified. They narrow it down to about 3 to 5. The decision gets made based off the likability and the confidence that's shown. Am I willing to buy what you're selling? Right? We're all selling ourselves. Whether you are an extrovert or an introvert, you have to become a salesman of yourself throughout that interview process. And understanding how to master confidence and likability is the key to unliking that, to getting that offer. Does that make sense with everyone so far? Before I go in deeper, let me check the chat. See what everybody's thoughts are. Okay. Yes. Thank you, Alice. Thank you, Stephanie. Shakia. Right. So what we got here? So when I ask about, do you believe you are confident? And I appreciate everybody being real, because this is just a preparation exercise tonight. We're here for this presentation to be better for our next interviews and be prepared. And I always realized this was a special gift of mine. Just being confident and self-aware, being able to own and command a room, and just being my previous managers always say, Cory, you're just a natural salesman. But I love connecting with people. The secret to my success, I guess I was the only child. So it was like, hey, what's going on? My name is Cory. What's your name? And it just came through naturally, and I got to understand how people work. So right now we have about 61%. When I ask, do you believe you are confident? Say, hey, they have some room to grow. We all have some room to grow. And let's see. And then, do you believe that you are likable? So we have 82% of people saying, hey, they believe that they're likable. So this is awesome. So we'll come back to the poll a little bit later. We'll go back. Share my screen if I didn't lose it. I don't think that's the one I want. Here we go. All right. So everybody can see my screen now. Let's go back to full screen. So confidence, a feeling of self-assurance arising from one's appreciation of one's own abilities or qualities. Remember, confidence is external after it's internal. You have to believe that you can. That's why I really discuss mindset. And it's not about being qualified. It's just about presenting that you can do the job, right? If you believe in yourself, what happens when most people are around you? It's like, hey, do you know how to get there? I don't know how to get there, but I know I can figure it out. I know I can get this GPS and we can be there on time. It is what it is. If you feel that you can lead, if you believe in yourself, if you show that confidence that you can handle the job duties and responsibilities of that role, you have 1 hour. And if it's a phone screen, you have anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes on just sharing how you're confident enough to do the job and that you like the job and appear to be a likable person. Everything's about alignment and a good fit. Are we a good match for each other? You're interviewing them like they're interviewing you. But your goal is to make sure that you show them how likable of a person you are. That means you open up, you be dynamic, you own the room, you own the interview, you own the whole process of selling yourself from beginning to end. So that's kind of going in on the whole likability piece. The property that makes a person likable, that allows them to be liked. So how can you be more confident in an interview? You must set the tone immediately. From the time you're on your way to the interview, or if you're doing it over the internet, if you're doing a Zoom phone call, you want to make sure that, hey, how's everybody doing today? You own that Zoom call, because there's always that awkward 1 minute before everybody starts, that 30 seconds. We typically talk about the weather. No, that's what most people do. You're going to talk about, hey, how is the interview process going for you? Have any great prospects so far? It starts immediately. You're setting a tone that you mean business. You're approachable, you're confident, and you're excited. You're looking forward to it. Because how many people have they been interviewing is actually looking forward to the interview? But you're confident, so you're different. You're cut above everybody else. And if it's in person, it's just having that warm presence and owning the room, smiling with your eyes. It's a real thing, you know? Hey, how's everybody doing? Be a likable listener. So what does that mean? That means you're leaning in, paying attention, you're hitting them with the nod, you're making yourself appear to be engaged, you're interested in what they're saying, you're polished, you're taking notes. That's all you have to do. You want to exude that confidence while still being humble. We don't want to be cocky, but you're, as I always say, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. I'd rather you err on the side of cockiness than being too humble, because you need to brag on yourself and your abilities. You have a nice, strong work history. You've made the commitment to go to college. You spend money. We all know how these student loans are. Make sure that they know what you bring to the table, how you could be a problem solver for their organization. You only have to beat out the other 4 people and be confident and likable. We keep saying, remember, they need you. You know, you can run the shop. As soon as they hire you, you're going to start changing things for the better. You're going to improve their bottom line. You're going to bring this positive energy and excitement to the office. People are going to enjoy having meetings with you. Just that positive, healthy mindset. People can then begin to see a future with you, right? You're just laying the groundwork. You're laying the foundation. Because if you're confident and you're this likable person now, she's probably, or he's probably going to be like that later on if we do make an offer to him. Do your best so you can rest. That's all what it comes down to. There's nothing worse than doing your best in an interview and you're second guessing yourself. Don't do that. Just let it go. You prepared. You went to a confidence presentation on how to make yourself be likable. You got your resume in order. You're prepared for certain questions that come up. It is what it is. If they don't see the value in you, keep it pushing. So let's go into likability a little bit more. So this really is a psychological thing, everyone. We are attracted to people that have a tendency to be similar to who we are, right? There's this adage of birds of a feather flock together, right? That is so true. If you never met anyone before, but you found out they went to an HBCU, what do you have? You have a common bond, you have a certain connection. So that's how the likability piece begins, right? What else do we have? What other things do we share? Oh, you majored in business? Really? Okay. What year did you graduate? And then it just starts to go on from there. And in an interview, by the way, if you can talk about things outside the job, whether it's about their cat or what their kids are doing in the after school program, you're starting to develop a conversation of what their shared experiences are outside the job. So that's a good thing, pretty much. If they're talking about something else outside the job at hand, you've really let their guard down and they feel comfortable with sharing more with you. So that means you're doing a good job. That's a strong sign that you're killing the game when it comes to the likability piece. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. This is one of my favorite sayings, because at the end of the day, if you know you have, most of the time we all have plenty of time to prepare for that interview. So typically, what do? We research a little bit on the company. We make sure we understand the direction and where it's going to be at. We write down a few of our questions. We make sure we have our resume in hand and we study the job description. That is what the average person does. But everyone on this call tonight, on this presentation, are above average. It's all about the preparation that sets you up for the win, right? Confidence and likability is huge, but preparation helps you be more confident, right? If you know you're prepared to kill something and knock it out, there's just this natural confidence that comes through, right? So it's all a part of it. Competence helps breed confidence. So here's the game. Take notes, take pictures. To prepare for an interview, you need to know 5 company facts. Most people are going to stop at 2 or 3. They're going to know, okay, where the company was founded and how many locations. But you're going to know the headquarters, the number of employees, what's their mission statement. And by the way, if they ask you why do you want to work for us, you can talk about how you align with the company's mission statement and their goals. Something else you should know is the CEO's name and a recent announcement. What do I mean by a recent announcement? Right now, if you get on LinkedIn or Instagram, you look up the company, there's a recent announcement that took place. For example, Coca-Cola. let's say they recently acquired Powerade. You could say in the interview, like, wow, oh, by the way, I saw that y'all recently acquired Powerade. How do you think that's going to help with sales this next quarter? Or do you think we won't start seeing that movement take place to another 6 to 8 months? Right? It just shows that you're engaged, you're already in tune. We all get those company announcements, and most of us don't pay attention. So for you as a candidate who's trying to interview with me and you want to work for the company I'm already working for, and you went above and beyond to find a recent company announcement, uh, that's awesome. Most people are going to stop with just the basics, but again, you're not basic. A PowerPoint showcasing you. If there's something that you take away, make sure that you have a personal digital brag book in the form of a PowerPoint presentation showing how you are a superstar and a change agent. You pick all the highlights from your whole career and anything relevant that you feel to put on that PowerPoint. For example, you interacting with a diverse group of people. Oh, look, she really gets along with everybody. I like that, because you can't fake a smile in a picture, right? Maybe you created a program that they now use. You're long gone and no longer work for the company, but they still are utilizing the program that you created. That's something that you put on there. Take a screenshot of that wonderful email congratulating you on how terrific of a job you did doing XYZ. It's called social proof, right? Most people, what they're going to do, they're just going to show up with one thing in hand, and that's their resume. But if you go to FedEx, invest in the money, have a PowerPoint, have your professional picture on it, right? Show the title of the position and the company logo, and have characteristics about yourself that you put on there that are directly relevant to the job. Oh, here are my greatest strengths. And they see that on the screen. It's like, wow, this person truly is prepared and a standout candidate. Because my whole thing is stand out, be confident. That's how you get hired. Okay, I think I beat that enough. Is everybody rolling with me? Let me check in. Let me check the chat. I cannot be boring you all to death. Let's see here. Oh, we got a question. We got a question. Okay. How can we command the room? Okay, I think I went through that. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Shakia. Okay, Corsia. All right, let's get with it. Let's get with it. So preparation is key. So I have to give you a couple more nuggets before I leave this topic. Research who you're interviewing. We do that with everything else. I don't know about you, but when I meet somebody, I'm trying to stalk the Instagram page, see who they are. What can I find out? The worst thing is when the Instagram page is private, right? So we do that on a social perspective, but we need to level up and do that from a corporate perspective as well. LinkedIn is critical. LinkedIn, even look for their Facebook. See what their personal life is like. I always like to find out if someone has a family, because if they have a family, they don't have time to be worried about me and micromanaging what I got going on. So you want to utilize, maybe they grew up in where you grew up, and you find out that, oh, they went to the same XYZ. You can find a way to weave that into the conversation and play it off without letting them know that you stalked them. It's like, oh, I'm a part of Big Brother, Big Sister. If I see you're part of a nonprofit organization, I'm going to find a way to creatively mention that, so you can say, wow, I'm a part of that too. So that builds that likability piece, because once I see that me and somebody share the same thing, we have something in common, they're more than likely somebody who I can work with on a 9-to-5 day-to-day basis. The colors you wear. We always talk about royalty. We know what purple means. It means royalty, right? Blue means you're calm, you're chill. Green represents money. Be mindful that colors are very important. There's been so many studies on it. There's a reason why the arch is yellow. Yellow and red makes you hungry. That's why you see the same colors throughout multiple restaurants, fast food chains at least. So make sure you figure out what your power color is that gives you the most confidence, but know that's how people perceive you. For us men, I have a red tie. That's my power tie. That's my go-to. You can't tell me nothing. I tie that fat knot on there and I'm going in. I'm a confident brother right there with that tie on. So another game changer that the other people won't do is show up to the interview with a 90-day plan. So you want to envision yourself doing well, right? And you want to communicate that you went the extra mile to show that you see yourself being successful and being a true asset to this company. No one is going to take time to do a 90-day plan. This doesn't have to be no 20-page deep dive quarter analysis, just an overview of what you plan on doing for the company once you start. It shows that you're focused on being successful, which minimizes your risk. Because what interviewers have to deal with is, how can I pick the best candidate with the lowest risk? It's very expensive to make a bad hire. They have to get the background check, the drug test, filling your role. They're losing money. The longer this position stays open, it's costing them money. That's a role not being filled that could be productive and helping improve the bottom line. So if you're telling me that your ramp up period, because it's all implied, right? Everybody has to figure things out. It takes a good 30 days to 6 months to really understand your role. But if you come in and tell me I got a 90-day plan, that is going to impress me and show that you're confident and showing that you're capable of doing this job. And then moving on to preparing questions. I have lots of clients and I do mock interviews with them. And I say, so do you have any questions? They say, no. We're all worried about being so nervous and just getting the interview over with. But this is the most serious piece of the whole interview process. It's preparing questions and asking questions. So if I'm with somebody and I'm not talking about, okay, so what's your religious beliefs? Okay, do you want to have 5 kids? Do you want to have 0 kids? So in order for me to envision a future with you, I need to ask you certain questions. I'm getting my mind prepped and think about something long term. So if you, at the end of the interview, you don't have any questions, that means you're not thinking about being with this company long term. That's a red flag. So that shows me that you are a high risk candidate. You're probably here just for the check, right? The collect the check mindset. Because if you strive for more and fulfilling that passion with a healthy mindset, you know you got purpose. So any move that you make, it has to have a purpose tied to it, right? So you don't want to go into something blind. If that's what you're pursuing, you're going to ask questions about how it works. How does this operate? The most important question that I would like you to remember is asking for the job. Now, I know a lot of people, you kind of say, what you mean this guy talking about ask for the job? We have to get out that comfort zone. We ask for everything else that we want in life. Why wouldn't you just ask for the job? Now, there's different ways to ask for the job, but keep in mind, you talked on the phone for 30 minutes with Barbara 2 weeks ago. We nailed this interview up for today, and you say this is the last interview. We talked for about 1 hour and 15 minutes. So you asked me all these questions, so you don't have a good idea if you want to hire me or not. I call it real questions get real answers, right? So you can ask several different ways. Wow, I've really enjoyed the experience and the interview process today. I was excited to learn more about the role from you. I think I would be a great fit. Can I have the position? Wow, I really would like to move forward. Is there a way that I could start next Monday? And have a big smile. You just want to show that you're serious about moving forward to the next step. And depending on how they respond, now you get to watch their body language and see if they're going to give you some fluff answer, some stage answer. You don't want to fall into the, oh, well, we'll get back to you in a few weeks. I want you to be prepared to ask the right questions, because there's nothing worse than doing your best. And then you kind of 2 weeks go by, 3 weeks, you're like, so what's going on? Because we all got to get that dreaded. Thank you for your time. Although you were excellent, we decided to move on to other candidates. Please keep us in mind and stay alert for future roles. So anyways, don't get me started, but this is why I coach you all this way. Okay, so how are we doing on time? So self-aware, right? What is the self-perception that we have? We all have certain natural biases, right? And when we're dealing with people that don't look like us, they don't understand our culture, right? So if I'm a certain height, if I'm a certain skin tone, if I have something on my head that I always wear, a certain scarf, people are going to perceive me a certain way. We all judge people in the first 2 to 3 seconds. It is what it is. If I have on some long braids and I'm going for an interview for somebody that doesn't understand my culture, they're going to have a certain perception. That is completely okay, but you need to know how others perceive you in life. I always have my friend. He's not from the U.S., but I say strong face. He always, the people that look like the sun just got stuck in their face and they just look mean or mad. Most beautiful, nicest guy ever, down to earth, but his appearance on how others perceive him before he opens up his mouth is not the most flattering. So I have to make him aware of that. Depending on the environment that he's in, he needs to be mindful of that. That's not the first impression you want to make when you walk into a room, and your resting face is not a welcoming face. It goes counterproductive to exuding the confidence, and it sours your ability to make the best impression that you can make. So you always want to be mindful how people perceive you. Colors you wear, we hit on that a little bit earlier. Ready? Behind this. How you make people feel. So this is where you make sure you allow your personality to shine. People will always associate you from how you make them feel. And when the interview ends, or if you had a good time with somebody, you always have those warm and fuzzies going throughout your body. The same thing is real in an interview. You've been taught, when you hit it off with somebody and it feels good. Man, I met this person in the line and we just vibed, we exchanged Instagrams, and look who they matched up with. They knew the same people I knew. So it was cool peoples right there. So want to be self-aware how you make people feel. Be genuine, be who you are. And this is why if you really figure out what your purpose is and you start flirting with that, what career is going to match and align well with my purpose and who I am, this plays a big role into that. Be somebody easy to talk to, be passionate, always ask questions, but make sure that you listen more. People really don't care about you. They just care about talking about themselves. This is a weird thing. You hear people, I'm like, you know what? They didn't ask me one question. But since this is in an interview mindset, let them just run their mouth. Let them keep going. So you can get intel, and it makes them feel comfortable. And again, it lets their guard down because they'll eventually start talking about things outside of the job, right? I already touched on a low risk candidate. Again, if you seem like somebody who's real confident, real cool, real chill, that's the person who they're going to call back and extend the offer to. So let's talk body language. Sometimes we sleep on this as individuals, but the second strongest form of communication is nonverbal, and that comes from the body language. We all know the hands together clasp, the fingertips are touching each other. If you have your hands underneath the desk or underneath the table, that shows that you're up to something suspect, right? Could be you're just nervous, but you're not having an open body language. If my feet aren't towards you, if my shoulders aren't positioned towards you, it's showing me that you're saying you want to be here, but you're showing me that you don't. So you want to be mindful of how to mirror their body language. Don't ever get too comfortable. My best recommendation is kind of be halfway to the edge of your seat, which means you're engaged and you're in tune. You are truly running the show. You're the candidate who's seeking the position. So you need to be in that power play of letting them know why they should hire you, and you should be on the move and be sharp and be on point 100% of the time until you're back in your car. Eye contact. It's simple, but some people don't do it. You want to make sure you exchange eye contact. You can hit them 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. You can take a little break, but go back, stay locked in. If they're talking about something that they appear to be passionate about, make sure that you stay engaged. And we've all watched certain models and Rip the Runway and this and that and these different shows. How you walk's important, right? We think about that in other environments, but not in the interview. When you walk in, I'm telling you, you set the tone, how you walk. Walk like somebody with confidence and spirit in their soul. I'm here for the interview. You extend that hand out, you do that firm handshake, and you look them in the eye. All right. And after you finish, the same walk applies. Like, wow, okay. Just be proud of what you did. So I just have to mention that because it's the little things. Everybody's equally qualified. So if we have 5 people who are equally qualified, what are we forced to do? Be petty. Body language, preparation, what they talk about. Did they ask good questions? It is what it is. It's an interview process. Again, they're not going to hire anybody that doesn't have the background, the ability to do the job. So they're going to really look at these 5 things that I'm walking through with you today. Who is the most confident in likability? So my last little tip as part of this 5 points process is let's dive in deep on questions, because this is how you set yourself apart. And I'm proud of my questions. When I work with my clients in preparation for interviews, I have a long list of questions we go through. Here's about the top 5 that I want to go through with you. So how would you describe the roles, duties, and responsibilities? Excuse me. So this is important because we don't want to leave things up to an assumption, right? When you assume, you know what they say about when you make assumes, right? So you want to hear your hiring manager state what he or she feels the job duties and roles is, because you might have a different interpretation, right? And you want to take notes and hear what they're saying. What's the main thing that they want me doing? So this can give you key to, okay, here's what they thinking. You get to understand their management style. Because hey, you might go through the interview and be like, you know what? I don't want to work for this person. He expects me to be on call 24/7. And then, oh, we're giving you a company laptop so you can answer on the weekends. It's like, oh, okay, thank you for sharing me what the job duties and responsibilities are from your perspective. Next question. How soon do you plan on making a hiring decision? It is a painful process to do your best and know you really want the job and it feels good. I made it happen. I got it popping. But you don't hear anything after 3 days, a week, week and a half. The worst is they always say, oh, yeah, we'll get to you in a few days. Well, it's been 5 days. I feel like that a few in my, that's like 2, maybe 3. Take away that. If they say, hey, we're trying to get somebody hired by the end of this quarter, they're committing to a date and time. Okay, so what does that look like? Are you looking, is it by October 1st? Is it November 1st? Or just trying to get somebody before the new year starts? You can ask clarifying questions to make sure that you have a good idea. Sometimes certain companies have to go through certain procedures, but if an interview or a manager, if the interview goes well and the manager is sold on you, they're going to do everything they can do to speed that process up. There's a thing called time kills all deals, right? So if I really feel you a top candidate, I'm going to be scared that you're going to jump ship. Are you interviewing with anybody else? Well, because we wanted to slow play and have a powwow and decide and get everybody's permission, now we done went through this whole process of setting you up for this interview, and we waited too long to get back to you. Now you have another job. And guess what? I have to start this process all over again. So get a commitment. I always tell people 2 weeks is fair, but if they really trying to get, if they really have their ish together, 3 to 5 days is all it takes. Sometimes it does take longer, but they will be communicating with you and they'll tell you that at the very beginning of the process too. Because sometimes they just got to go through a bunch of foolishness and it can take a month and they still love you and want you. What concerns do you have about me? So I tried to be strategic with a lot of these questions. And this one I'll share with you on why. It's assuming there's something that you don't like. Because when we don't like people, what do? We do not tell it to their face because we want to be nice, right? Oh, yeah, you was good. When they walk away, man, they was musty. Great person, sweet guy, but he was a little musty. Or wow, I think she really needs to work on a couple things with her attitude, right? But if you ask them, hey, what concerns do you have? You can say, well, I really feel like you didn't come here with the best attitude. It was like, well, honestly, I didn't want to cancel this interview, but really, I found out I had a member in my family pass away last night. It completely changes what their opinion is of you now, because you know what? You've revealed what's really going on. And sometimes it's hard to, when your mind's somewhere else and you have a death in the family take place like that, and you didn't want to cancel the interview. So that really says, wow, you know what? Okay, she really is an amazing person. He's really an amazing person. He's just going through a death in the family, and I can understand and sympathize for that. Second thing is, oh, what concerns do you have about me? Making that assumption. You want to make them feel comfortable to share what's that one thing that's holding you back from saying, I'm going to hire this person. Well, I see that you have this tattoo on your neck, and we really don't think that's really appropriate here. And how the customers will receive it, I'm not sure. Oh, really? This thing? So actually, I have a young daughter, and we put this fake tattoo on, and we're just playing games. And I thought I could just rinse it off, but it literally takes 3 to 5 days before it wears off. Wow. Okay, I thought that was real. I had the same issue happen one time with the tattoo on my arm. Thank you for clarifying. You want to give them a safe space to share what concerns they have about you, because you know what you can do when you're there in the interview? You can defend it, right? You can help shed light on that. And sometimes we have these perceptions about people that aren't even real. So you want to give a safe place and give them the opportunity to share. And if you push and play it right, and they say, well, we really don't have any concerns, that can be true. That means you did your due diligence and did the earlier stages of the interview process so well that you've alleviated any concerns that they may have. Now we want to wrap things up on a good note. So we went through, okay, what you don't like about me, all through this. So let's end on a sweet note. What attracted you to my resume? Well, I really like that you had 10 years of education experience. You've worked with people with special needs, and you've been able to work for the government. So I think all those things are going to tie in well to this role. And I mean, you obviously seem energetic and prepared. Honestly, that's why we decided to give you a call. Thank you, thank you. So now you already put that at the front of their mind, right? This is towards the end of the interview, and your second to last question is why they think you're amazing. Why they think Alex is amazing. So boom. Then you say, well, great. Can I move forward in the interview process? Can I have this position? I really would like to be a permanent member of your team, and I can really see myself working with you every day. I think you're a great manager, and I respect you. I think you have good experience, and someday I could learn. I feel like I could learn a lot from you working with you. And that's how you wrap it up. And again, real recognize real. How they respond, you watch their body language and see what they have to say. If they start shooking and jiving and kicking the can, oh, I need to talk to Susie and Solid Band. No, you know you're the decision maker. You're going to be my reporting manager, right? So how do you not know? Don't try to put it off on somebody else. So you can just use that to fill them out and where things are going. All right, wrap it up, B. All right, so remember, doing a quick review, mindset is very important. It seems real cheesy, but it's real. We can't always expect things to go our way. The only thing constant is change, but we can change our mindset, right? So be positive, do what you need to do, and you'll be fine during this interview. Understand your purpose and your talent, or what you're good at, right? So you can do this job. It challenges you to be better, but you can love it and appreciate what it does for you. It doesn't have to be your forever job, but it's something that you can wake up and do, and knowing what your role is, right? If you think about it, the retirement age, it keeps changing, but let's say 64 years old. If you work 40 hours a week and you got to keep that up until you're 65, you really need to make sure that you're aligned with a solid job that you can be happy with, right? You want to be an expert in your craft in somewhere you can grow, right? Prepare. We talked about preparing. Preparation is key. It's very important to me. I think this is what makes you a standout candidate and get hired. How did you utilize the time that was given? Sure. So do you have some availability on Thursday next week to meet? Okay, cool. The preparation process begins immediately. It's too much information on YouTube and on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on how to prepare, and find little nuggets to help you stand out. Be self-aware of who you are. If I have dreads, people are going to perceive me a certain way. It just is what it is, right? And that's okay. But I have to knock down those barriers and let them know, hey, I'm the candidate for the job. Be genuine, show up authentic who you are, be mindful of body language, and please ask questions. Take advantage of this. You don't have to ask 15, 20 questions, but have about 5 to 10 solid questions prepared. And if you're listening, right, they're going to answer a few of those questions, and you might end up only having to ask about 4 or 6. So while I have you, here's some things I have to share. I would like everybody to know, and just make this change immediately if you haven't already done so. Take your resume. Do not use an executive statement. It's old. It's old. Things are changing. You can use a professional summary and put that on your resume. Update your LinkedIn. This is the number one way to get a job is through networking. The number 2 way is LinkedIn. LinkedIn. It's I'm kind of like that millennial where I'm like kind of young, but like kind of getting seasoned. When Monster was this thing and Career Builder, they're still relevant to this day. But you have LinkedIn has a job, they post jobs, and it's everybody's on LinkedIn. It's like the business professional of Facebook. You need to have a page on there and don't have a solid profile picture. Don't be out there cool, cheesing, peace sign up. Have that nice professional headshot with all these nice cameras, with these phones and all these angles we can get. You can take a professional shot and have it updated. Have a career search plan and strategy. Finding a job is not easy. You have to finding a job has to become your new job. You have to work it. 5 positions a day, following up every 2 weeks with the positions that you've applied to see where you're at. Calling the recruiter, leaving messages. I'm kind of strategic that way because I want to push for the no, push for the yes. I'm gonna give you time to figure it out, but I don't want to assume that you hired somebody else. I want to assume that, oh, you just didn't get a chance to get back to me because something happened, or maybe somebody went on vacation that you needed approval for. So having a plan, like anything we know we want to be successful at, we have to have a plan and a strategy of attack. Your interview process and finding a job should be treated no different. Network. Tell everybody you are looking. We're always so humble about people being in our business. We don't want people to know our business, but we're all professionals. All of us know somebody who knows somebody, right? We're not broke-minded people. We're strong-minded people and individuals, and birds of a feather do flock together. But sometimes it's hard for us to say, girl, I'm looking for a job. Bro, I lost my job. Like it's like, why is that so attached to my manhood that I can't tell a big group of brothers who are all professionals, who are making good incomes, that, hey, is y'all companies hiring? Can I list you as a reference? Maybe we can split that with that employee incentive. Yeah, I got Cory hired. So yeah, I get $2,000 if you can last for 6 months. And then that's $1,000 worth of free money. So tell everybody. And last but not least, always negotiate your salary, please. And negotiation doesn't have to be related to money. It could be vacation time. It could be, oh, you know what? I don't mind coming in the office sometimes, but I got to work it from home at least 3 days a week. Put that in an offer. Oh, I would love to switch, but I can't start because my quarterly bonus is really going to be due in 2 months. But if you can give me my quarterly bonus up front, I can start for you in 2 weeks. There's so many ways that you can split the baby, but those are just the Cory tips I wanted to give you. Let's see here. Oops. See, now my last slide don't want to show. There we go. So here's how you can stay in touch with me. If you have any questions, if you want to book with me, just go to my website. You can follow me. I show a lot of my personality. I'm always dancing, having fun. If you want to follow me, Career Coach Cory on TikTok, on Instagram. I'm always making posts or some type of video, and I have testimonies because I know I'm awesome, but sometimes people need to see testimonies. So take a picture, follow me. That is my cell number. You can text me and I will respond. Thank you so much, everyone. So let me go back, switch my screen so I can check out the rest of this poll. Let's see here. And turn it back over to the lady herself.
Yes, thank you, Cory, for such an awesome presentation. It looks like we have quite a few questions in the chat. Wait, you said you wanted to see the poll though, right?
Yeah.
Let me share the results.
Are you happy with your current position? We got 50 out of 50. No one's worked with a career coach before. Do you believe you're confident? I have room to grow, still the majority. Do you believe you're likable? Strong, yes. Do you have a 5 to 10-year career plan? Most people don't. Have you ever been ghosted after an interview? Yep. So that's why you want to ask when you plan on making hiring decisions. So thank you all for sharing that. So let's see if we can get some of these questions.
All right, it looks like Patricia had a question about, do you have an example for a 90-day plan?
Absolutely. So for example, say you want to get as familiar with the product as you can. So you want to understand, what is it? Let's say if you're selling a product, you want to be familiar with their main product. If you are in HR, I have lots of clients who are in HR, you want to make sure what their wellness program offers, right? You want to spend the first 2 to 4 weeks doing that, or the first month being familiar with that. You want to spend the second month engaging with all the employees, making sure you go to everybody, all the department heads know who you are, making sure, understanding what their current pain points and how you want to put together a plan to solve those pain points. And then you can talk about your 90-day, you can spend implementing the plan that you created. It doesn't have to be anything super structured, but it shows that you have a thought process in mind. So I want to learn everything about the company should be step one. Number two, introduce myself to everybody. Make sure that everybody knows who I am so I can be a future resource. Take in some input that they're willing to provide on what you need to do, right? And then that third month, talk about rolling that plan out that you got.
Awesome. I've never heard that piece of advice before, but I can definitely see how that would make somebody stand out in a job interview for sure. Then we had Anthony asking about colors. Does the suit color matter or just the tie color?
Most people, I recommend for a suit color, stick with your navy, blue, or black. Sometimes you can jazz it up, but those are safe colors. I think tie is an easy way to differentiate yourself. So figure out that color. I'm not afraid to take pictures. I have a lot of homegirls. I'll take a picture real quick and I'll ask 3 people which one looks best and who the majority rules. So yeah, but suit tie, that's the first thing people really see when they look at you, because your face is centered and how it's tied up. And please have a good tie. You have a good knot, fellas. What's another question?
Another one from Aralisa is asking about how to deal with a long gap in employment after taking on a caregiver role.
Oh, this is good. So let's talk about why they ask about gaps. Are you a lazy person that didn't do anything and just stopped working and chilled at home and ate Frito-Lays? That's really the hidden purpose behind when they ask that question. So when you're taking care of a loved one, a caregiver, you have to make a priority of putting your family first. So I had to take time away. It took a year. It was just me. I have an aging parent who's single. It's just me. It was better to move her in with me and for me to take care of her for a period of time until I can find a caregiver that I can trust to get back out here in the workforce.
So just about showing that you weren't doing nothing, like you actually.
That's all it is. And any self-respecting person should respect that. And if they don't respect that, that's your response. That again, that's a blessing that you got rejected.
Good advice. Let's see. Jasmine was asking, so if you go in for a job interview and they show you around the office, do you think that indicates that they want to offer you the position?
Yes, that's called the buying sign. It depends on if you've interviewed first. Sometimes they'll do it beforehand because they're just buying time, because maybe the person you're supposed to meet with is still wrapping up a meeting. But if you're at the end of your interview, that fourth quarter piece, and they want to show you around the office, that is a strong buying sign, because they want to, I like this person, so I want you to briefly shake everybody else's hand. So what was your first impression? Did you like him or her? Right? That's all what it's going into, because they want to share the risk. No one wants to take the big responsibility of, I hired Cory, and then 3 months later, Cory sucks. So what you want to do is, I love Cory, so let me bring him around everybody to kind of get their buy-in. So did you like him? Okay, so that way we can share the blame. But if you're awesome, I'm going to take full responsibility. Like, Cory was my hire. Look at him moving on up. I did that. Yes.
Do you think that's a good time? Do you think that's a good time to ask for the job during that tour?
No, the best time is when they give you the mic and they're going to ask, do you have any questions for me?
Okay.
You ask your series of questions, and your very last one should be, can I have the job? Now, if you want to throw a nice little joke here, oh wow, he's on. Hey, because sometimes they'll bring me around like, well, I like him because sometimes they test you, right? Oh, I love those shoes. Yep, I got them at Ross. You know what? I like her. Well, hey, hopefully I can get your support in getting this position. That's how you can do it. Just kind of depends on what comes up. If that scenario comes up and you're vibing and they're throwing a little flirt out there, you
Yeah.
throw it back. Like, yeah, well, hire me then. Shoot, you know. But yeah, you don't have to ask, but you just need to ask once in that room. Typically, is fine and plenty.
Okay. Okay. And then we have a question here from Kim about having a competency statement versus a professional summary. Can you speak to which one is better?
It just depends on what your area of expertise is in the flow of your resume.
Okay.
There's no perfect ideal way to do a resume. There's only wrong things you can do. And I think having a statement is fine, but you need to make sure that it shows I bring value by doing these things. I don't want you to have something vague like seeking a marketing position with a solid company. That's what I want people not to have. We all grew up with that template, but that's trash now. You can't do that. Hey, I'm an outgoing, experienced sales professional who loves building relationships, who can improve the bottom line. That's it. That's all you need to say. Something, any type of statement or summary, but both those are fine. It's more about getting to the meat of what you can do if I hire you. Don't give me the fluff.
Right. Okay.
I'm nice, I'm sweet, I'm respectable, I show up on time. I would hope so. Give me the meat. Tell me how you saved the company millions of dollars because you caught an era that's been going on for the past 5 years. I don't even have my CPA and I saved the company X amount of money. Wow. Put that on your resume.
And then Stephanie is asking, how do I ask for the job without letting it affect my leveraging abilities when it comes to the negotiation steps?
So you have to understand you have zero power until an offer is made to you. So it's not going to have any effect. Again, you have zero power throughout the whole interview process until they offer you an interview process. It's kind of like when they show your hand, right? But you don't know what they're holding. But when they begin to be vulnerable with you, that's the best time. So that's kind of how I'd handle that. So you don't have anything to worry about, any type of question beforehand. You don't want to ask about money. You don't want to ask anything that has direct value or benefit to you before an offer is made. You need to be sweet, be kind, be professional, ask for the job, right? But that should be about it. Then we can start getting into the weeds when they're like, oh, so you have interest. You want to call me now and make me an offer. So let's talk about, I have a couple questions that I like to address while I got you on the phone. Thank you so much for offering this role, blah, 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 blah.
Got it. Got it. Are there any other questions? I think that was the end of them, but we have more time if anybody has any other questions to throw in the mix. Oh, someone was asking for your LinkedIn again.
Just go to Cory Steward. Cory Steward. I should be the brother on there with the smiley face. Cory Steward, Steward.
Oh, it looks like there's one question about any tips for optimizing your LinkedIn profile.
Yeah. You can look at my LinkedIn for a couple ideas, but the biggest thing is do not put your resume on LinkedIn. That's a teaser. That's a teaser. That's a teaser. Give a little sample, give an appetizer, because you can sell yourself better on the phone. But if you're giving me everything right here, I can make assumptions whether they're true or false. Talk about what value you can bring. Have a job. Talk about what you did on each position. Don't just copy the job description, the basic job duties. And look at it like this. Whenever you go to Google and you want to search to make a homemade apple pie, you're looking for the exact ingredients. So when they search the LinkedIn database to hire candidates, they're going to look for a certain number of keywords to match up with who they're looking for. If I'm looking to hire a principal, I'm going to look for a certification, and I'm going to look for a minimum of 10 years of education experience
Mhm.
public experience, private experience, and charter school experience. So you need to just weave all that in into certain keywords. And you can even just cheat the game, put all of them in a certain part of your summary at the very bottom, say, hey, key competencies, things I'm skilled in, and just, leadership, comma, training, comma, um, IT, comma, whatever it is, you can put it in that way.
Mhm.
Um, but having a good solid picture, you can have 2 or 3 job descriptions on there that are all related towards the same field. So when recruiters do search for you, that's what they'll find. It increases the likelihood that you'll show up as a match.
For finding the keywords is, I guess, do you just look through job descriptions to try to figure out like what key terms to pull out?
Yeah, like if you know you're an HR manager,
Mhm.
benefits needs to be in there. Compensation manager needs to be in there because you have to work with these people. Wellness plans and exercise and how you create a certain strategies for how do you handle implementations when every year in HR there's open enrollment. Tell me how you're skilled with handling that as smoothly as possible, right? So
Mm.
you need to mention certain terms that HR. If I'm an HR hiring manager and I have a position that I'm looking to hire someone for, I'm
Yeah.
searching for those key terms. And I need someone who has experience with compensation.
Mm.
I wonder if they can do this role. So just throw those key terms in there, or take
Mhm.
the job that you want to do, and take those keywords out and add those into your LinkedIn.
Cool, cool. Stephanie is asking, what is the best way to give your portfolio over Zoom interviews?
Mhm. Just like I did today. Say, you know what? Um, Because normally they ask you, so tell me about yourself. And you say, you know what? I actually took the liberty in preparation for this meeting is I made a PowerPoint and I think, of course, I can tell you I'm amazing. Of course, my resume says I'm amazing, but I just want to go the extra mile. Can I shoot you an email? And you already have their email already saved as a draft. You hit send. They should get it in their email immediately because before you got to this stage, you asked, who am I going to be interviewing with? Because remember, you hit stalker mode, right? And what's their email address? Because you'll need to know that anyway to send them a thank you note after the interview. Second way, you can share your screen. Say, hey, can I share my screen? All Teams applications, all Zoom applications, Google Meets, you can just share your screen and present your PowerPoint that way. So good question.
Cool. Um, how do you answer the question, what are your salary expectations?
Yeah. So you definitely want to try to duck and dodge that if you can, but you should always know your 3 numbers, right? Your minimum acceptable number, right? Your man. So have that in mind first. Have what you would like and have what you would really like. I always kind of say 20% more than what your current role is, then 15, then 10%. Because at least at your minimum, you're still coming up 10% more than what you have. So
Mhm.
you can say, hey, actually, I was looking for, I expect a fair, acceptable range from this company. Just don't say a number. Say, how much do you have available to offer for this role? Just flip it. Just ask a question back. You can be vague. Typically in negotiations, the first person to drop the number loses. But if you
Mm.
know you're mentioning a number that's already higher, you're not losing if they're forced to. But don't be afraid to give a little bit of pushback. They actually respect you more because they probably don't want to lowball you, but
Mhm.
it's just this game that some people know how to play, some people don't. It is a true fact. It takes minority women an additional 7 months to make the same equal pay. That's just a fact for women overall. Period. Minority women have it worse, just because what we have certain concerns that most males don't have to be concerned about. So you definitely want to make sure that you set the tone and answer a question with a question, and I do a whole deep dive on child negotiations, but
Mhm.
that's the most important thing. Answer a question with a question. Let them know you expect to be offered a fair salary for this role, and you can also do research on Glassdoor, Salary.com pay scale. Take
Mhm.
take the one that gives you the highest, and go from there. Make sure you pay attention to the zip code. They're not always going to be perfect. They're not always going to be spot on, but you should, again, if you're preparing for the interview, you should know about the range and what salary to expect. And those are helpful tools so you know what's going on.
All right. It's good intel. Back to the 90-day plan, what's a good way to research the pain points that a company might be going through?
So what I do is it depends on the industry. So for one, if it's a public company, they have to share a quarterly report based on earnings and do a whole presentation on the overall health of the company. If you go through that report, most companies have this open to the public. And you can see what's their goals for next year. Because everything's about, we need to do numbers. We need to do 5% more profit than we did last year. So what's your plan to do that? For example, say you want to work for Macy's. Oh, Macy's, I see that you have a partnership with Toys R Us. That's going to bring in additional traffic. How do you think that's going to affect your apparel and fashion space? Right? So here's a couple ideas, right, that I think I can implement within my first 90 days that we can take advantage of parents bringing their little kids in. Have we ever thought about putting because I bet you Macy's is going to put their children's clothes right next, about 2 feet away, right next to the Toys R Us store, so they can do a cross promotion of traffic. So you can talk about what your strategy is for the company's pain point to increase their profits. I hope that makes sense, Stephanie. But all you want to do in 90 days is research the company, what seems to be a problem. If, for example, McDonald's, they're doing adult Happy Meals, right? So if you're trying to work for Burger King, what's your idea to combat what McDonald's has going on? So you might want to say, hey, let's do a golden ticket, Willy Wonka style, so people can order Happy Meals from us, but they actually can win free movie tickets to go see Wakanda Forever. So just you want to generate ideas that can help drive their business in 90 days that shows you can think outside the box.
Awesome. Let's see. Any other questions for Cory? I mean, I feel like that was a great run of questions, and
yeah, that hit on everything.
Yeah, you pretty much answered them all so well. So here's one. How can we generate more likability?
Just go through those steps I just provided, really.
Yeah.
You know which your personality type is, right? Be self-aware. If you know that you go into a room and you always talk to the same people that you came with, just be mindful of that. But now you're in an interview process. How can I sell myself to be the likable candidate if it was between me and someone else? So if you are well researched on understanding the person who's leading the interview, and you talk about, you can flex, wow, I saw this about your company. And because you're prepared, you're naturally going to fall into that likability piece factor because you're just going to stand out. Because the respect comes in. If you went above and beyond, and I've been interviewing people all day and no one asked for the job, you're going to stand out, but you stand out in a positive way. So that has no choice but to generate likability. Sometimes when we do actions, we drive someone really close to us or we'll drive them real apart, right? You can't please everybody. But if you can be comfortable in your own skin and be confident, it naturally relates to the whole likability piece. And if you're explaining how well you understand your job, how you can relate your past experience into this current one, the future role with them, it just becomes this natural fit.
And we'll share the recording. Oh, I was just going to say, we'll share the recording with everyone too after this. So you can go back and review Cory's presentation. But yeah, if there are no more questions, then I suppose we could wrap it up for the night. And yeah, this was such an awesome presentation. Thank you, Cory, for joining us today. And thank you, everybody, for staying till the very end.
Yes. Happy to be here. I hope it was fruitful for everyone. Just shout out to everyone who took time out to just improve yourself. Because a lot of people would do something else, go watch TV, but you all decided to make an investment and take advantage of this resource that the HBCU Career Center put together. So shout out to you all. I hope you liked it. I'm very crazy and dynamic and animated. I hate to be the boring presenter. I like to keep people engaged and hopefully with some nice nuggets that you can implement right away.
Awesome. Oh, I'm sure people enjoyed it. I certainly learned a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, with that, good night, everybody. Thank you again. And look out for the recording. We'll send it out tomorrow. So,
Yes.
all right. Thank you.
All right. Sweet dreams, everybody. Thank you.